Hello folks, and welcome to this week's Music Alerts. Got some more vinyl for you, but let's begin with CD. And we have a trio of CDs on the Koko Mojo label called Right Hand Man. This is a series of CDs focusing on guys who played behind the stars, people who in the past may have been overlooked or ignored. On that basis, I have 2 volumes spanning 1948 to 1962 on guitarist Lafayette Thomas, a man who was called the Thing because of his acrobatic playing style. These compilations feature the man himself up front on occasion, but mostly supporting others like Memphis Slim, Jimmy McCracklin, James Reed, and others. I also have Volume 1 devoted to Chuck Norris, and I don't mean the hardman martial arts movie star, but the jazz and blues guitarist who played behind the likes of Percy Mayfield, Johnny Otis, Dinah Washington, Little Richard, and others. This initial volume includes some of those people plus Lionel Hampton, Red Callender, and Amos Milburn. Moving on to rock now, and the Frontiers label, and a band called Fans of the Dark. They've announced their new album called Video, and this album kind of reflects on growing up in the 80s and 90s, including visiting the video shop. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Retro. It's the world's largest industry right now. It's everywhere and in all genres. Even the style offers that melodic heavy rock of the time. On the same label is the band DGM, and the new release, Endless. This is Italian prog metal. It's a concept album, you might say, focusing on life's journey, the search for meaning. Again, this is melodic rock, symphonic, you might say too, and it's a lot of fun. Speaking of concept albums, and how about the band Def.Fo? I hope it's pronounced, or is it just Def.Fo? I don't know. Whatever it is, it's basically Tom Powell and his album Music for Dinosaurs over on the Def.Fo music label. This is a dystopian nightmare set on Mars. You know the kind of thing: troubled civilization, edge of extinction, interstellar quest, the search for a new Eden. We've all been there on a rainy Tuesday night, featuring woozy psychedelia, lazy beats, baggy Manchester vocals. Does anyone have Tony Wilson's phone number? Joe Blogg's jeans? All that kind of stuff. You see? Nostalgia all over again. Next up, presented in a digipack, is another new release, this time from Jack Cheshire and the album Interloper on the Loose Tongue label, which is kind of related to Def.Fo in terms of music style, if nothing else. There is that dreamy, hazy approach to modern psychedelia. However, here there's also a stripped back, rather lonely aspect to this one, as if the album is being played in his head. Vinyl now, and to transition from CD to vinyl, may I present a new release on both formats from the East Central One label, and a lady, Mary Lee Kortes, who sings the songs of Beulah Rowley, apparently a Dust Bowl era singer of traditional early 20th century music and jazz and blues, I think, who died when she was 21. Apparently her music was passed down the generations until Kortes etched them into these grooves. The whole concept, says some commentators, is a pure work of fiction. I ain't sure either way, but whichever way it is, it's certainly an intriguing and successful album. Successful in terms of implementation, that is. Kortes offers a sense of clarity in her vocal delivery, combining the old with the new in terms of presentation. Well worth a listen. From what I can see, both the CD and the double vinyl album, which is presented in the gatefold, features the same track listing, although the vinyl features a very attractive pull-out booklet. Speaking of dual formats, 2 vinyl formats now of the same album. A red vinyl pressing and a picture disc format for 5 seconds of Summer's debut on Capitol. This is the 10th anniversary pressing of the thing, or pressings rather, plural. The band, well, it's a cross between boy band One Direction and California punk, I suppose. This is an Aussie band offering hook-laden ditties with an eye to the charts, an eye to pop paradise, and an eye to 14-year-old girls. Next is Irish band The Coronas and thoughts and observations on the So Far So Good label. The band are rather popular in their homeland with an anthem indie pop kind of presentation, but there are some slight folky edges in there. There is popularism, an approachable vibe, you might say, to this one. Next, we have 2 albums on the Stunt label now, a pair of jazz albums. First up is Denmark-born pianist Katherine Windfeld and her sextet, and the album Aldebaran, I think it is, which sounds vaguely Star Wars to me, don't know about you. Recorded in Copenhagen last year in 2023, which makes sense. The thing that stands out for me on this one is the tone. This album varies in tempo and approach, but there's an overarching, easy, approachable tone to the album that's rather endearing. Also on Stunt is another lady, Cornelia Nilsson, and her debut, Where Do You Go? Lots of variety here. Sometimes the music is wrapped in a lament, sometimes a chaotic improv, other times her own drumming takes. The lady is a drummer, old Cornelia is a drummer, and that sometimes takes centre stage, as you might expect, with an almost tribal approach. The music either slides back to a wistful, lazy, slow-moving river tempo, or it can gear up to a hip-swinging, dance-syncopated rhythm. There's plenty to get your teeth into here. Finally, we have a 60th anniversary, folks, a repress of the debut album from the Animals, here on Parlophone. I think initially, was it Columbia? EMI Columbia initially? I think so. Anyway, this one includes the hit single House of the Rising Sun, and it's been pressed on yellow vinyl. This one is, I hasten to say, the UK version of the album. The US version was a little different in terms of track listing. The songs themselves feature some heavyweight R&B and blues covers. House of the Rising Sun was not initially included on the original first pressing. And that was a bit of a thing of the time. It wasn't unusual. Singles were often left off the album. But here, it's been added, and I quite like that. And that's it, folks. Thanks for staying to the end of this particular video. Can I ask you, before you go, can you click down there on the like and subscribe buttons, please, just to help this channel to grow. Further down, I'll put some links to people who need to be linked, including myself, which means my Facebook group, which you're welcome to join, my website, which has lots of music-y stuff over there, my Patreon page, which also has written stuff, videos. If you're into hi-fi, there's an exclusive weekly video there too. I'll be back with another one of these, same time, same place, and it's coming, it's on the way. And I hope to have your company. And if you can join me, that'll be great. Put a smile on my face. Anyway, until then, folks, bye-bye for now.